Hi everyone, welcome to Cryptography Club. This video is to summarize what the first meeting is gonna be about. First is my self-introduction. I'm Rachel and I'm a grade 10 student at PMSS this year. I have been learning Python for 2 years in my spare time. Our club sponsor teacher is Miss Stockley. She is my math teacher this semester. As you know, we will be using the Caesar cipher and the RSA algorithm for encrypting. The Caesar cipher is classic and easy to understand. It's a substitution cipher, which means that every letter in the alphabet will correspond to a different letter after we encrypt it with the key. So we'll look at the Wikipedia page for Caesar cipher. So over here we can see on the picture that after they encrypt it, so for example, E will go to B, F will go to C, and then for the other letters, they will all correspond to a different letter. And then there's an example over here. So they used a key which is a right shift of 23. So that means A will turn into X, B will turn into Y, C will turn into Z, and so on. So if we use this pattern and encrypt the plain text, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, we will get this message, which is no longer understandable. And then for the RSA algorithm, it's an asymmetric cryptography system, which means it has a public key and a private key. So the public key is online and everyone can see it, but the private key is only for ourselves. This makes it harder to decrypt. The RSA algorithm is very popular in modern cryptography. It's what banks use to keep our communications safe. The letters R, S, and A come from the last names of the three people who invented the RSA algorithm. And then I'll introduce the specific parts of the club schedule. There will be 18 meetings in total, bi-weekly every other Wednesday. The first few will be in person in room 222 at lunch, so we get to know each other more. But then after we get used to how Python works and get the hang of the club activities, then we will move on to Teams, and I will just send videos that everyone can watch in their spare time, because not everyone can make it to every meeting. And then here's the specific club schedule. On the first meeting, which is right now, I introduce the club and also give you guys some resources to learn Python. Because I can't teach you how to do Python, so please learn about it when you have time. And then after each meeting, there will be an activity, and then for the first meeting, we need to install Python, look at W3 Schools and a YouTube video which I will show you later, and we will use Python to print our first message. After we create our own code, I would like you to upload your code onto Teams, so if you have problems, everyone can help you, and on the next meeting I can also fix any bugs or anything. On the second meeting, we will learn about ASCII and Unicode, which is the system where each symbol has a number for it. So we can turn symbols into numbers and use the numbers to, for example, add 3 to every number to turn the symbol into a different symbol. And then the second program is to use these two functions and practice them. For the third meeting, we will start encrypting a short message, but it won't involve opening any files. because if we involve opening files, the code will become a lot more complicated. And then for each meeting, we're also gonna review the codes that we did in the last meeting if anyone needs any help or has any questions. For the fourth program, we will encrypt a paragraph, so a message that's longer than the third program, and it will involve opening and reading files. For the fifth meeting, we will create a chart of prime numbers up to 100,000. Prime numbers are very important in cryptography, especially in the RSA algorithm, because we use prime numbers to figure out the key that we use. So basically, decrypting the RSA algorithm is just prime factorization. By the fifth program, hopefully we will have finished the basics of Python, because we will be continuing to learn the basics of Python after every meeting. And then after the fifth meeting, we can start doing some more complicated codes. In the sixth meeting, we will have finished all the encryption parts and we will start decrypting. Because we have been uploading all of our codes to Teams, we can pick another person's code and then decrypt it and see their original message on the sixth meeting. In the seventh meeting, it is the last meeting for Caesar Cipher. We will review the codes and discuss any questions. And then for fun, our seventh program will just be creating a Python program for anything that you like. For the eighth meeting, we will start the RSA algorithm. Because it's a bit more complicated than the Caesar cipher, I will go through an example to see the process of encrypting and decrypting using RSA. In the ninth meeting, we will discuss the Euler function and the Euler's theorem. They might look a bit complicated at the moment, but after we explain the RSA process, it will just be part of it. For the eighth program, we will use a program to simulate the process of encrypting and decrypting. Basically, we already know the key and we know how to decrypt it and encrypt it, but we're going to use the code to simulate it. For the 10th meeting, we will work on the extended Euclidean algorithm and create a program to practice it. In the 11th meeting, we will talk about the Diophantine equation. It's also a very important equation. In the 12th meeting, we will start doing prime factorization, because the decryption for RSA is basically just prime factorization. In the 13th meeting, we will explore coprime. So coprime is basically to see whether two numbers don't have any of the same factors. And we will also define our own function to see whether two numbers are coprime. In the 14th meeting, we will complete the encryption and decryption process. I know we have already done a code similar to this, but that one we already know the key for how to decrypt it. But for the 13th program, we won't know what the key is, and we need to write the program to help us figure it out. In the 5th program, we'll review the codes and resolve any bugs. And then the new program we will do is to create a cipher key up to 40 bits long. In the 16th program, I will demonstrate the decryption process with one of the uploaded ciphertexts that you guys did. And then we need to understand the decryption code, and then you guys can write your own code for decrypting. In the 17th meeting, because you guys have written your own decryption codes, you guys can also try to decrypt the other members' messages. So we will review if there are any problems with that. And then we will complete a key of 10 to the 12th powers long. So basically a cipher key of 40 bits. And then the 18th meeting will be the last meeting. I have been thinking about giving everyone who attends the last meeting an award certificate for being in the PMSS Cryptography Club this year. I will ask Ms. Stockley about this, and hopefully she can also sign it. By the 18th meeting, we will fully understand the RSA algorithm, and then we will create a 1024-digit cipher key. This 1024-digit cipher key is not decryptable at the moment because the prime factorization is too complicated and there's no code that can efficiently calculate it. Yeah, that's it for the schedule. For the resources that I talked about are the places where you can go to learn about Python. W3 Schools is a very good website for learning about the different Python stuff. On the left, you can see all of the things that you can learn about. They're all very important, and I suggest looking at all of them. Not all in one day, but eventually getting to all of them. So pretend we need to figure out what strings are. We can click on Python strings and then read what it has. We can also try it ourselves with some examples. Yeah, everything in here is very useful, and we will probably need to use most of these, all the way up to classes and objects. So look at all of them, but when you get to classes and objects, you can stop because all of these stuff are very hard, and we probably don't need to do them. And then there's a YouTube video.
In this course, I'm going to teach.
Yeah, it's 4 hours long, and over here, and then watch to the 3-hour and 43-minute mark. After that, you don't need to watch it. So pretend I want to see the dictionary.
In this tutorial, I want to talk to you guys about using.
Yeah, I think this tutorial is very good and useful. If you get through it once, it would be really good, but if you could get through it twice, then you would probably be able to do pretty much everything that you need in Python. So the resources are what you can use to learn about Python in your free time. If there's any questions, you can also put it in Teams or talk to me about it in the next meeting. And then we will install Python. We go to python.org/downloads and then click on the download Python 3.9.7. I have a video of downloading Python. So I go to python.org/downloads. We run the command. And then it says setup was successful. Yeah, and then I find the IDLE and open it. It's where we can write our programs. We create a new one and call it Hello World. It's the first message that we're gonna print. Yeah. Okay, that was installing Python. Oh, that's it for the first meeting. And if you run into any problems for installing Python, you can bring it up in the next meeting, or talk about it in Teams. Thank you.